It's 7:01. Today is Monday, February 5th. I will call the meeting for the Commission for Disabilities to order. If we could pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Commission's mission is to address the needs and concerns of our disabled residents and provide their full participation in the activities and services of Wakefield. Janice, we'll do the meeting minutes next time. Okay. And it looks like I'm going to go right to public participation because it looks like we may have someone on the line. Sharon, are you interested in speaking? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Sharon Janice, and I am strictly here just to observe it and see what you do on your commission.
Okay, very
okay.
good. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thanks.
Earpiece here. Okay, so Bill, I guess we wanted to chat with you a little bit about the budget that you mentioned for the commission going forward.
Yeah. So I put in a capital request with our Public Works Director for a $25,000 budget for fiscal 25. I had a similar request last year. I think this year we might have a better chance of getting it based on what the kind of outlook is for capital this year. My goal would be to kind of grow that annually so that we have a little bit more money to do some of the things that the commission wants to do. This would be kind of more infrastructure related, ideally, because of it being capital and all. You know, if in the future, if we want to maybe start looking at a operational budget, I can start looking at that as well in the future. But that's our current plan. Current budget, I have about 37,000 that's left from when I started up the transition plan. So the ADA transition plan was done. I think I came here originally just to kind of kick it off and let you folks know about it back, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago at this point, maybe 3 years ago. So that's still ongoing. Use a few consultants for different aspects. So we've done an assessment that was presented here for the buildings. That was probably 6 months ago, maybe. I'm waiting on deliverable for sidewalks and curb ramp inventory stuff. So that should be hopefully within the next couple of months, and I'll come back for that. And then
Bill,
yeah.
Excuse me, but is there a way of your volume being able to come up a bit? You're very soft.
Oh, I am? Is that better?
It's a little bit better, yeah.
No, I got a weird microphone. I'm on my laptop, so it might not be great.
I agree with you, Lorna. We're having trouble hearing them too.
Oh, are you? All right. Well, I can try to speak up a little bit. Is that better?
That's great. Thank you.
Right.
I don't know, Dan, is that okay?
Yeah, it's better than it was.
Your voice was very, very soft. Yeah.
I never hear that. Usually I hear the opposite. So do you want me to start back over? See, for folks that didn't hear it?
I could hear you. You're very, very soft. I don't know if Dan needs to have you repeat anything.
I'm all set. Okay. I heard
Okay.
very weak.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm planning to come back for full adoption of the transition plan probably within the next few months. We've already kind of looked at pieces of it, so this would be the final final adoption component. We also had open space come here as part of the open space plan. So we've kind of looked at 2 already and approved them. So it'd just be sidewalks and prioritization of that, which can kind of segue into, other projects that we have around town and where we want to start spending some monies. Obviously, Judy gave me a couple of ideas that we've already incorporated into our sidewalk program for this year. So that'll be happening in the spring. And I think, that's pretty much all that we've highlighted. I got, Judy's given us a couple of other ideas for, for bench locations that would be accessible by Gertrude Spalding, so that's kind of on my list of things.
And let
to
me
include.
just interrupt you because we're saying benches, but Judy, clarify. I think what she wants is picnic
Yeah,
table, right? Okay,
that's my understanding, yeah.
Okay.
I misspoke, so.
that's all right, because I conveyed that to her and I used the same term that you was benches and she
Yeah.
corrected me. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay.
Understood.
Yes, so we had talked about similar to what is already in place at the Maple Way.
Yep.
They've got a beautiful accessible picnic table.
Perfect. We can have that. So I'll be targeting that over the next year for sure. So, but again, we have 37,000 for projects. If we have ideas of what that would entail, I don't expect to use any of this for any consultants at this point. So, you know, I'm pretty much done with who I was going to hire, and I got it done for a little bit cheaper. So we have some budget this year, hopefully getting another 25,000. So then we'd have even more money for next year, next fiscal year. So always open to ideas. So it'd be great if, you know, over the next month, maybe we can start thinking about ideas and throwing more at me. It would be great.
So Paul had suggested on our last meeting, a concern that he has for
Okay.
North Avenue. So Paul,
Okay.
do you want to speak to that?
Sure. I was just passing something along that I'd seen on Facebook where somebody posted that she's got, I'm actually reading the post now. She is a young adult with special needs who loves to walk solo to the lake and crosses Prospect Street. I was wondering if it's possible to ask the city to paint a green crosswalk like the ones on North Ave. There's already one crosswalk by the four-way stop going away from the lake, just a thought. And then, so I was just passing that along and, you know, didn't mind doing it because it's sort of publicly available through Facebook anyway, which got me thinking about a crosswalk opportunity that I've long thought about on North Ave. That's right by the North Ave Diner. There is a crosswalk there, but I would love to see if we could have one of those like pedestrian activated lights that alert cars to the fact that somebody's ready to cross, because people are always going between parked cars there, either to the diner or to the dance studio that's there. I see young kids all the time and I'm just holding my breath that they, you know, whatever, that the parent comes and brings them, or if I can get to them fast enough to help somebody walk across the street. But that would, you know, of course, benefit both folks with disabilities, folks without disabilities. But I was addressing that in response to the post that I saw about the woman whose son crosses Prospect.
Yeah, so for the Prospect piece, we're looking at a full study of that intersection actually, and trying to potentially shorten some of those crossings. I have a whole quarter study actually being done for all of North Ave to try to coordinate lights and all of that stuff. Where you're looking for the crosswalk improvement and the light, we have 3 crosswalks within 100 feet of each other, which is typically not what we do. We should separate them by a minimum of like 300 feet. But I think it does make sense to have it by North Ave Diner because, you know, we also have like the main entrance to the T station right there. So
Right.
Exactly.
Yes, we brought that up to the Traffic Advisory Committee on last Friday, and we voted to install them and to move forward with that. But we also are going to look to have you know, some hatch marks on either side of the crosswalk so that you're not squeezing between 2 cars, you know, 5 feet apart. So,
Oh, nice.
which
Yeah,
essentially eliminates a parking spot there. So we got to do some outreach. So, Lieutenant Anderson will be doing that for us and talking about what we're doing. And then, I'll be implementing at some point, probably this spring, I think. So I did some other one, up on Montville Ave, on Montrose Ave. And they were kind of like a smaller sign-based one, so it's not like the full posts. That's fairly cheap to install, so we're looking to do those in that area. And then,
Got
you know, if we have to move them once we do the study and figure out where we want to go, we wouldn't strain that investment. So that's what we're looking to do.
Thanks.
Hey, Paul, one of the reasons was that I think at that crosswalk, people park right up to the white line of the crosswalk.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I've seen people in the crosswalk parked.
Jumping out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just, it's a weird one in that you've got to make yourself really conspicuous to be seen there, and when you do it, you're arguably putting yourself in harm's way, right? You gotta like almost flag cars down for them to
Yep.
notice it because they get going pretty good on North Ave, and they probably, maybe I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here, but some people might not even recognize that there's a crosswalk if it's dark and they don't see the green. So
I have trouble opening my car door right there, and I know that's probably one of the narrowest parts of North Ave is right there.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely is. So, but yeah, I'm comfortable doing that. So we'll advance that, and then I'm not necessarily planning to put the updating the curb ramps though at this time because I'm not sure what I'm going to end up doing there when we do the car study. I might do bump outs there or something else. So I don't want to invest anything else in the meantime though, as long as the commission's okay with that. So
So
I'm
you'll
fine.
do crosswalks is what you're saying
The flashing lights I'll do for
with the
crosswalk.
flashing lights. Okay.
Yeah, that I'll do, but the actual upgrade of the curb ramps, I'm gonna hold off on because I think I'm probably gonna end up doing something a little different there. So I don't want to waste the town's money on that.
Okay.
I don't know that the curb ramp is a problem. I mean, at the risk of being insensitive, if anybody's found otherwise, like I kind of pay attention to that stuff now since I've been on the commission. I don't think that there's a curb ramp problem. It's really, at least at that North Ave spot, it's really just a matter of how to alert drivers that there's somebody standing and waiting to cross.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have the tactile plates, and
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure the grades aren't necessarily hitting the grades either. It looks to me to be off. So
Okay, got it.
yeah,
Thank
we
you.
would, but again, we're gonna look at that kind of more holistically for the whole corridor. We're trying to coordinate
Mhm.
signals. We're trying to coordinate all of that. So
Mhm.
kind of move some traffic through and then have spots and gaps for people to be able to cross. So that's all a big study from Maine all the way to Prospect is what we're looking at. So
And
Thanks.
as somebody that used to commute into Boston,
mhm.
that people get off the train and they just cross.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
they in all different places coming out of in between lots of different cars
Right.
and all of that. So, and also somebody, if you're not a tall person, like some of us, or if you're seated because you use a wheelchair, somebody seeing you coming out from between parked cars, or if there's a big vehicle,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I won't be seen crossing.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of putting those almost immediately activated crossing lights.
Yep.
I've seen them. I love it when, and people walking, baby carriages, and it's just good for a lot of different reasons. It would be great to have that there. It's a really good idea, Paul.
Yeah, we like to do them on mid-block crosswalks. That's typically where we want to do them. And then if there's a high area that doesn't have some type of signalization or stop sign or something, that's when we typically want to put them in. So
Now, if we could only get the crossing gates to work right.
I got that in the queue too, my man. So we're working on that too. So what aren't we working on? But yeah, we actually were lucky. We ended up with a federal earmark to replace the crossing gates on Broadway, and then I requested enough to do two. So I may be doing Albion or I may be doing Prospect, depending. Whatever gives us. So remember, we had the train horn problem. This is to offset that. So we did a temporary fix, and now we'll do the permanent once we finalize our quarter study. So
Well, I can tell you that as somebody that comes down Prospect Street a lot,
Mm.
there's a lot of stuff that goes on with those gates. They're just possessed.
yeah, I don't like the what I don't like is that little slip lane to take the right because you have to yield and you're yielding on the tracks. So that's obviously not a safe situation. So I think that's going to be a priority to try to figure out a way to eliminate that or regrade the road to have it so you're not stopping on the tracks, because that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, and another item that I would like to add, just for the commission's knowledge, Inspire Cafe is getting very close to signing a lease for the spot at 411 Main Street, so the corner of Richardson Ave and Main Street.
Yep.
And that is going, so given the clientele that will be visiting Inspire Cafe, we want to ensure that that everything there is up to code regarding ADA as far as curb cutouts, the sidewalks. I know that on Lincoln Street going across that, when you come out the parking lot and you go across Lincoln Street, the crosswalk there is, I believe it's painted. It's very bright. It's not
Mhm.
just a basic crosswalk. So whatever, I'm recommending we do whatever we can there. I'm just looking at a Google map. Just an enhanced crosswalk similar to Lincoln Street. And then curb cutouts, up to code signage, whatever signage will be required there that's universally designed.
Okay.
I know that there is already a handicap parking spot. And I know, Bill, when you and I had talked about this, you indicated that there's going to be, with the Envision project, there'll be some work going on there as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of work. So we're putting in bump outs there. It's all of that will change. So anything we do, I think we're gonna get it as close to code. I don't want to drop a ton of money because it's gonna start in fiscal 28 is when we're doing it. So, obviously that's 4 years away, so we can definitely do something as an interim.
Okay.
But we'll get the tactile plates in. I might not regrade the whole area, but we'll do some stuff to get it as up to code as we can for now.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And do we need to do anything as a commission to vote on these suggestions that were just made?
If you
Or-
want to move a vote for me to move forward and with the stuff we've discussed, I'm happy to take that and run with it within my current budget and stretch the dollars accordingly.
Good idea.
Okay. Okay. And so what I'm going to suggest is, Janice, is maybe we break these motions out separately, only because Lorna and I should probably recuse ourselves from the Inspire Cafe, as we sit on the Friends of board.
That makes
Um, But for the others, we certainly can vote. So let's see. So we talked about, let's do this. Let's just pull Inspire Cafe out separately. So we'll talk about the capital improvements for Judy's request for picnic tables. And the location was Gertrude Spalding Park. And where was the other?
Well, we already have ones that you're asked for before, so I think if it's just there, right, Judy? Yeah.
Yep,
And
it
then
just-
Yes, that was the main spot.
Hall Park,
That would
right?
be great.
And then you wanted something in Hall Park, I believe, as well. Does that ring a bell?
Hall Park is where the farmer's
So
market
that had
is.
been discussed at one of our other meetings. I personally haven't been up there, so I don't know really what's being constructed.
Well, nothing yet. So we would do it all as part of the bathroom project. So I'm looking at some of those walkways that are in there. So if we want to maybe widen that out, that's something I can definitely consider. Or you want to have a little spot to kind of look out at the lake or something to that effect.
Yeah, so if it makes sense to do an accessible picnic table in that area as well, I think it would get utilized.
I think so too. And is that Hall, Hall Park?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So with anything around the lake, just so you folks know, I gotta go to the town council with those requests. So we'll probably need a memo. Marie, you and I can work on drafting something up if everyone votes to move forward with those two.
Okay.
Can I ask the question on those picnic tables?
Sure.
Are they expensive?
I wouldn't say expensive. I would say, I don't know, a couple grand probably.
Yeah,
And
which
then
is pretty good.
installing them when we install them, depending on how they're, I can't remember how they put the footing in, whether it's just a concrete base that they just kind of plop it into, or if you pour a pad and you need to anchor it. I think it's just like a tube that goes down and we just cement it in so it doesn't move.
So exactly what you just said, it's the base that really is the important part, because that needs to be very smooth and solid so that people can get around with a wheelchair, walker, cane, crutches. So the base is probably really the most a vital part of it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great location, Hall Park.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I mean, I'm already heading to the council for the bathroom,
Yeah.
you sign off anyway, so that's an easy ad, not a problem on that. And
So
then
if
I just
anybody's had an
remember-
opportunity to see what's at Maple Way Playground,
I did.
isn't that a beautiful setup? Because it's got the parking spot right there.
Mhm.
It's got a very accessible way to get right to the accessible picnic table.
Yeah.
And it's got a beautiful base there that's very easy to get around.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Yeah.
pave over that and then come down to that picnic table and have that paved up too, so you can wheel right in. So you just be on pavement, you're not gonna be on the gravel. So that's our plan. That's already awarded. That contract's already been awarded, so.
That's perfect. Yeah, that picnic table over there, I think gets utilized quite frequently.
Yep, and then we're gonna do kind of a path area to get into JJ Round. That was the other one that we had before. So I wasn't planning on the picnic table there unless that's what you're looking for, so. that would-
No, I think the path there is the important thing because there's already a bench
Okay,
that would be accessible if we could get a path to the bench
okay.
at the
Yeah, and we
JJ
can also
Round.
and I can do a little spot next to the bench too. So you'd have like a little 5x5 area if that makes sense to you too.
Sure, yeah.
It might be a good idea that we could put a listing of handicap accessible playgrounds in town, and somebody could look it up if they were looking for a particular playground to go to.
Yeah.
And they'd know that it's got a picnic table there, or it's got a pathway there, or it's got handicap swings there.
Yeah, for sure.
Put it maybe on the town website or something, like we have for the handicap parking spaces.
Yeah, it would make sense because we have a whole commission on disabilities website. So I mean, we could easily put it
We
on there.
could put it
I mean,
there.
I would imagine that's where folks will go. I also have a standard ADA page too. Just general ADA to contact me with stuff, that type of thing. So I can throw it on one or both. I mean, that's pretty straightforward to do.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so and then the next item we would want to include, Janice, is well, I guess, do we have to include it, Bill, what we just spoke about, the North Ave crosswalk and light?
Yeah, I would prefer you just to include all of it, so it's all been voted on, and that's what you folks
It
want.
right, so that's what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull Inspire Cafe out separately, so
It's a
that,
separate vote.
yeah. But so, Janice, in its first motion, it would be the accessible picnic tables at Spalding Playground, Hall Park, the path to the JJ Round.
Oh, that's already been voted on.
That's all right, so cross that off. And then the crosswalk
On North Ave.
and lights on North Avenue.
And that's the pedestrian activated flashing lights.
Correct.
Got it. All right, so does anybody want to make a motion to vote on that?
Sure, I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lois.
Second,
Okay,
Second,
thanks, Dan. Okay, all in favor? Okay, so that's everyone. Thank you. And then Janice, so the second one, the second motion will be in regard to 411 Main Street, which will be the new location for Inspire Cafe.
Yep.
And suggestion is to
look into accessibility issues surrounding that in that area to make sure that the curb cuts, the signage, and the crosswalk are all as accessible as possible, given the likelihood that clientele who will be patronizing the great new location of Inspire Cafe will be able to utilize the facilities there.
safely, correct. Does somebody want to make a motion? Thank you, Lois. And second, please.
Second,
Thank you, Judy. All in favor? So that's unanimous. Les, Lorna, and Marie that have recused themselves.
when they build out the cafe, do you think that they could think about a handicap accessible bench there? So in the summertime, I'm sure somebody would liable to be eating outside. I'll
Well,
look into it.
I
You
think
can
the
do
hope
the-
is, Dan, that there'll be table and chairs out there, you know, to the extent that they're allowed to do that on the sidewalk.
A wheelchair accessible, that's what I'm saying, to fit underneath the table.
Oh, yeah, I think you can
Yeah.
make, that definitely makes that happen, but there's a process for that to happen that goes through our town council. So town council does all what they call the sidewalk cafes. We have a whole policy or bylaw I think bylaw that was created for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it talks about accessibility as a thing. So I typically review them to make sure folks can get in and out. So I think Lorna, you were bringing up early on about we didn't have a ramp to get down, so
Right.
the town went out and purchased a few of those to allow access. So, you know, we're looking at that stuff when it comes into us.
Is 411 Main Street, the building itself, is there a flush entrance? Can people get in?
Yes,
Yay. So I think about like the place that's further down Main Street where they're gonna be doing the cute little shop that's near the new Santander Bank. And it still has a step. It used to be the paint store.
Sweet Bay, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
completely inaccessible.
Oh,
It
Yeah,
just,
definitely. So that's a
and
good
that's where the
point.
pop-up was incidentally, right? Wasn't that the Inspire pop-up was like right there over the
Yeah.
past summer?
it was on a
in
piece
in-
of land to the right of that, but it
Yeah.
was just a piece of grass
Yeah.
and the pop-up was
Right.
just a box. So yeah, there were no accessibility issues there.
But that is something we can look at though, because I mean, with Envision, the grades on that road right now, the cross slopes are so steep. I could probably fix that and make that flush.
At Sweet Bay, you mean?
Yeah, as part
Oh,
of
she
the,
would probably be thrilled by that.
I would think so. She's asked us for crosswalks and all this other stuff, but I mean, you know, we would need to do bump outs and stuff so people could do it. The grades are all weird out there, so I gotta make some adjustments anyway. So
mhm.
that would be, you know, that'd be something as we get into the design of that. I mean, we're not even quite at 25% yet. We'll have a design public hearing at 25%. That would be something that you want to definitely weigh in on. And I'll talk to obviously our consultants about it.
And you let us know when that's gonna happen?
Yeah,
So
of
we
course. Yeah, I
can-
usually
That'd be great.
I'll give you guys a heads up on those things.
Another good thing about 411 is it has a handicap spot right on the corner of Richardson.
Yes,
And
it does.
so I
Yep.
believe it's a 15-minute parking space in front,
I think so.
or it used to be anyway.
Well, it isn't for you for the handicap spot, so there's no time restrictions on that. But
No, I'm just saying it's got the handicap plus a 15 regular parking space. So
yes,
if people run in and run out.
Oh, I didn't notice. I'm gonna be over there tomorrow. I'll have to take a look.
Getting a cup of coffee, running in, running out, and they're gone, but it opens up that space every 15 minutes.
Oh, that's good to know. That will be handy. Yeah, there's gonna be some, probably major renovation in the interior. There is a bathroom, but, we'll have to ensure that that's handicapped accessible and just the flow.
Bill, what's the deal with like Sweet Bay moving into a building, and were they exempt because of the age of the building from having to make the entrance accessible?
yeah, that's basically what it is. I mean, there's a certain threshold of improvements that trigger it. So
Mhm.
they didn't they didn't really do major construction. They just did, some smaller renovations. So that's what the trigger is. If it had a certain one, but again, there's
But
other
there's
exemptions.
no
based
public
on-
accommodation issue because it's a public space that they,
Which one? What the?
Sweet Bay.
No, I mean, it's a private business. It's not a public space. I mean, they can restrict anybody from coming in there. Not, I mean, the whole Title II thing's a little different, but I mean, there's a trigger basically when you're doing your improvements that trigger you to have to make it compliant.
Right,
But
it's a
also-
30%.
Yeah, and they're also constrained by the grades of the road. I mean, that's not something that that they can control. So they could ask to come and fix it in the roadway, but I mean, they're adding, tens of thousands of dollars, if not, even more than that on to make the improvement. So it's something that we would do, the goal, as I'm doing these streets and these roads over, we're looking to see what we can make accessible. That's what I'm gonna be trying to do. So like the new, the old Molise building that in that development, they're all gonna be flush for those. The ones further up the road, I can't make the grades work. So those wouldn't be upgraded. So where like the dance studio is and the,
Yeah.
Arts Hardware, I don't believe they can make it. They did their renovations, but they couldn't make that grade work with all that stuff there.
Well, I think Hart's his main door is on ground level, isn't it? I don't remember.
There's one further down, but the main door, and I think now is on the corner, right?
I think that that's temporary. I
Okay.
think they're gonna go back to when they finish the renovations. I think they're gonna go back to having
Water Street.
a Water Street
Yeah.
entrance, which I think is not a correct grade. But, a lot of folks that I know that use mobility devices, they just, power through it and get in. Because you can, whereas, most people would be able to do that, maybe some with assistance, but, you can't power up a 7-inch step. That can't happen.
Right. Right, totally understand. So yeah, it's so we have like requirements to make the road, still compliant too. So it's kind of there, when the buildings were built, these weren't requirements. So unfortunately, it's just not, it's not there. But like anything new being built has to. So that always happens. We check that.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I think we're good with our capital improvements. The next item I wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody noticed in the item, but the Wakefield Human Rights Commission is going to be hosting a Zoom on understanding our differences. And it's going to be next Monday, February 12th, from 7:30 to 8:30. And it says, learn the importance of fostering open conversations about disabilities among young people and why encouraging greater understanding, respect, and inclusivity makes a difference for all. I definitely think that some of us should be on that call. If you're available, I'll do my best to try to make that. But I just,
Marie, is that something we need to sign up for in advance or,
let's see. Nope. Oh yeah, Zoom registration. So yeah, you'd want to get on the town website, and then go to the Human Rights Commission's page, and they must have a link there where you can sign up.
I can plan to try to go to that.
Okay, and I'll try to do the same.
Surprised I didn't reach out to you already. That's kind of interesting.
No, I just happened to see it in the paper is where I
Yeah,
first saw
it
it.
was in the paper.
So I cut it out and thought, yeah, it's something that we should participate in.
I can also attend that. Would you say 7:30 to 8:30?
Yes, 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
And that's also on Monday, right?
It's disabilities. They should come to the Disability Commission and just buy us.
One would have thought.
I think this was the,
know?
probably sounds like maybe a renaming of the learning about disabilities that they, the PTOs always put on from the schools.
Right, and it is
I think they just
sponsored with the
renamed it.
PTOs. So yes, it
That
is
makes sense.
sponsored
So
with
yeah,
the,
that was the LAD program. that was
Correct.
Right.
For
Correct.
decades.
Yeah.
The learning about disabilities or something like that
Yeah,
was the LAD program, right?
Exactly what it was. Yep.
yeah. So maybe they're trying to resurrect it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then the other, I don't know if you're keeping tabs on the upcoming town elections, but you may have noticed that there's an open spot on the Wakefield Housing Authority. So, I'm educating myself, but I'm certainly not at a point at this time. But if somebody is interested in that, that would be another great place where we should have a voice. I'll do my best to just keep, we know that Paul is going to be sitting on that new trust that's being set up. And so we'll have input that way. But just certainly no pressure. I'm just throwing that out for people that if you're interested, that another good place where, like I said, we should have a voice if we can. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to bring up?
I have my monthly request from Bill. What's happening with the
April
wheelchair
vacation.
swing?
April vacation.
What was the date?
April vacation.
Okay, and that's gonna be at what? What school?
That's at the Dole Bear.
Dole Bear. It's back to the Dole Bear.
It is back to the Dole Bear. Yep. Yeah, but we can still add one in the other locations. We definitely can.
Yeah.
We can chat about how we make that happen. It's just, we also have to have accessibility to get to this, to the playground too, if we do it on the lower common. But that's just something I need to look into.
Yeah.
But we got a few irons in the fire right now, so I think maybe let's get through a couple of the capital requests we have, and then that would be maybe phase 2 next
Would be
round.
good.
Chat about it.
Yeah, I was getting confused because I watched the Recreation Commission meeting and they were talking about Dole Bear and I'm saying, wait a minute. I thought they said, Walton.
Yeah,
But-
so they had worked it out there, so I think that Fazio and Steve had talked about it, and that's where that decision was made, so.
And they need a 30-foot barrier around it.
Yeah, it's a large area. I had brought it, I believe that we knew that it was Dole Bear, because I brought the plans to one of these meetings. I don't know, maybe might have not been on that one, but there was definitely a meeting. I brought it there, showed the plans and what it's gonna look like and how it fits in and all of that stuff, so.
I think there used to be, there was a swing at a Walton school that was,
Right.
but the playground's been redone, so there was there was a chair swing at Walton when that playground, and then as we have discussed before, there was a pretty large ramp going up to the system, but I guess that's all been redone. But that's a really hard school to find. Unless you know where you're going, you're not gonna find it. And Dole Bear is so much more publicly out there.
Yeah. And
So seeing that there's gonna be a wheelchair swing at the Dole Bear, do you think there should be a wheelchair picnic table there?
That's a really good idea.
Okay.
Am I getting a little pushy?
Cha-ching for that $37,000.
Oh, I would never say that. Yeah, you're requesting stuff to do. That's what this commission's for, so.
Do we need to amend the vote we just took?
Sure, I would say amend it.
Okay, somebody want to make
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to amend the vote we just took to add a wheelchair accessible picnic table at the Dole Bear.
Make a motion to accept that.
Thank you. Someone want to second
I'll
that?
second it.
Thank you, Janice. Okay.
Great idea, Dan. Are we voting, Marie?
I'm sorry.
We need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Does anyone have anything else? No, if not, this was sort of a short meeting then.
Short, but we got a lot done.
We did get a lot done.
Yeah.
Would someone like to make then a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Thanks, Lois, and second that.
Oh.
Thank you, Paula. Okay, so it's we're going to adjourn our February 5th Commission on Disabilities meeting at 7:41 p.m. Thank you all very much for your time, and we'll see you next month, March 4th, I think it is.